Hey there guys and gals, welcome back to Back Pocket Game Reviews, and today we're going to talk about what I felt was the best games of 2019. I know 2019's ship has already sailed, it is long gone, I'm bringing up the past and failing to let it go. However, I just kind of waited until after the holidays to do this. There were some games that were still 2019 games that I wanted to be able to finish before I fully went on and actually did this game. And I'm happy I did, because one of the games that actually is probably the top of my list wouldn't have been on here had I not have done this. So I went back through and I replayed certain games that not replayed, I played for the first time certain games I just kind of skipped throughout the year that I really didn't think were going to be all that good or didn't appeal to me all that much. And if you follow me on Twitter, you know that I've recently developed an addiction to JRPGs. And the weird part to that is I haven't really liked JRPGs for a long time. Like it's not really a game type that I usually play. Usually they're too relaxing to me. Don't get me wrong, they are very mentally stimulating. You do have to think when playing them, but it's not like when playing a shooter game where it's reflexes, reflexes, reflexes. It is more strategy over quick thinking. So these games aren't in any specific order. I really couldn't order them if I wanted to. I can tell you that certain ones are obviously more impactful to me than others. But I really don't think I could do a full 1 through 10 and be like, yeah, no, this is the order that they exactly go in. It's probably very close to that. I'm not saying it's like horribly off, but I don't think I could give you like, this is guaranteed, this order is specific here. And personally, there's some great games that came out this year. Most of them are games that I didn't think were going to be great. And the weird part to that is that I felt this year was going to suck in games. And when it comes to exclusivity between PlayStation and Xbox, for the most part it did kind of suck. No offense to Death Stranding, it wasn't really my cup of tea. If I wanted to be a FedEx package handler, I would get a job at FedEx. Or another good example would be Days Gone, which I hear was okay, but it's sort of like Rage 2, where I picked up Rage 2 being the Bethesda fanboy that I am. Not so much recently. Like nowadays I'm starting to not be able to sit down right because of how much Bethesda just right in there. So Rage 2 was a bit of a letdown too. It was okay. It wasn't like spectacular. The story failed to captivate me. And Days Gone had a lot of bugs. I did watch a couple streamers play Days Gone, so it's not like I'm not aware of what Days Gone was, the story, and for being 100% fair, I've played so many zombie games at this point, it's really hard to get me excited about a new zombie game that isn't like Dying Light or a new Dead Island. So, let's start off this list though. I think I've rambled on long enough. At the number 10 spot on the list, it is Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3. If you've never played a Marvel Ultimate Alliance game, this specific one was exclusive to the Nintendo Switch, which is kind of shocking to me because the other ones were on the Xbox and PlayStation, and this one's just like, nope, Nintendo Switch exclusivity, which isn't the only game to do that. Bayonetta did that as well, which is just odd to me. But Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3 was a very well done game, and it feels kind of like Diablo, but with interchangeable characters that you can swap in and out, and I'd arguably say it's probably one of the best co-op games that came out this year. You can play it with multiple people the whole way through. It's very well done. You can pick the characters you want to use. You can play it with up to 4 people just running around Diablo style using the different Marvel heroes' abilities to take down the foes. And there are a lot of foes, there are a lot of heroes. It's very expansive into the Marvel universe, and they do a very good job of blending stuff from the comics and the movie series. So you're not going to get just like a straightforward, here's an example of one. It's not just like we took this solely from the comics. They blend both universes, and they do it successfully well. But it was a pretty good game. I actually wasn't very excited for it until I got the chance to try it at the Nintendo Roadshow at the Ohio State Fair this year. If you watched that family vlog, you got to see that was one of the things that they highlighted there, and then I got a coupon for get $20 off the purchase of 2 Nintendo Switch games, and instantly went out and bought it. I also got Yoshi's Woolly World with that, but that game was okay. I'm not the target audience. I like Yoshi because he's cute. It's a very stress-relieving game. You don't really have to try very hard. But that doesn't make the list. That is not on the list. At number 9, and as I said, these are in no specific order, so don't get mad at me when you see this at number 9. But Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. Jedi Fallen Order is a fantastic game. It's probably the greatest Star Wars game that's happened at least since the first Force Unleashed. And yes, I know there was a second Force Unleashed and it was terrible, okay? There were parts of it that were good and then they butchered the ending. If you haven't played it, just spare yourself the trouble. First one, excellent game. Second one, meh. I know, because I pre-ordered the special edition. $80. I was still working at GameStop when those came out. But it's a really good game. It kind of blends your Dark Souls style of mechanics in, and I don't really want to call it so much Dark Souls. It is more forgiving than a Dark Souls game. It's not like to that degree of, oh, you pressed A 2 seconds too early, you're screwed. But it does have a higher learning curve than like the Force Unleashed games. But to be fair, you're also, the Force Unleashed games, you literally pull down a Star Destroyer in one of them. Straight down. Number 8, The Division 2. And I get it, a lot of people out there didn't really enjoy The Division 2. I did, and I actually enjoyed the first one as well. The issue that I have is no one stays interested in it long enough to really enjoy the stuff that happens after the original release. I still have it installed on my Xbox. I'll probably bounce back in at some point. I gotta complete the other world tiers and then go through and do the new stuff that they've added in. Just didn't have a lot of time, especially with my time being so split, and obviously we all know that I play a lot of Rainbow Six Siege, but The Division 2 is more like a tactical MMO shooter. People are existing in your world, in the social areas. You'll see them just running down the street. But the PvP is secluded to certain areas, specifically called dark zones. It's pretty easy to explain. You're doing tactical missions with friends. These missions are pretty hard. For the most part, they can be pretty challenging, especially when you start to get up there in your world tiers. But they do require a little more tactical thinking. You have to be able to communicate with your friends. You have different abilities. Those abilities can feed off of each other, so you all need to be able to communicate and cooperatively play through that game. Or if you're really good at soloing stuff, I guess you could try to do it solo. The difficulty is a little easier when it's just you versus when there are multiple people. So when you are playing it in co-op, yeah, it does upscale. But it's a lot of fun. It's a great game. It's enjoyable. The dark zones are fun to go into, especially if you're a decently high enough level, because you won't get completely crapped on once you enter there. Number 7, Kingdom Hearts 3. I know, it's far further back on the list than you probably thought I was going to put. I did love Kingdom Hearts 3. I thought it was a fantastic game. It's obviously a game that a lot of people waited pretty much all year for. Actually, longer than all year. People have been waiting since 2 for a proper sequel, and instead you got stuff like Dream Drop Distance. Yes, I vocalized my disgust by Dream Drop Distance on multiple other occasions. I don't like being forced to change characters. It bothers me. But I do hear the story for Dream Drop Distance is good if you can force your way through that. This is not a turn-based RPG. This is a more, I guess you'd say, live action. I don't know, action RPG, I guess. Something like that. But it is a JRPG. It incorporates the Final Fantasy worlds and the Disney universe. As odd of a mix as that sounds like, it works beautifully, and it's very fun to go into these different universes, specifically the Disney universes, and see just how crazy it is when they're darker than usual. And that's the best way to explain it. They are darker than usual. And you got stuff like Big Hero 6 and Toy Story. The only complaint I really have against the Kingdom Hearts franchise is the voice actors are usually so similar, like almost the same, but just slightly off, that is bothersome. Like, it'd almost be easier if you just went with a different voice actor. Like, someone who doesn't even sound alike. Because that bothers me. And I know that's a weird complaint to have. But it was a fantastic game. It lived up pretty much to all of the hype I had about it, even if I did get frustrated during the final boss. But yeah, I'm happy it came out this year, because it would have been a lonely year without that. That was like the first big release of 2019. That was the first really big game that I got. Next up on the list is Outer Worlds. Nick, how could Outer Worlds be so far back? I know, and I have on my community tab, like if you go over to the community tab on my YouTube page here, you'll see that was actually almost what you guys voted on for Game of the Year. Because I run the little panels. I like to see, I put some stuff up that I think's the best games in those categories, and then I'll let you guys vote on them, right? Yeah, you guys got to do that. Outer Worlds was winning Game of the Year, and it is a very good game. It's enjoyable. It's very goofy and off the cuff. It is done by the original creators of the Fallout series, so it's kind of goofy in that way. The original Fallouts used to be goofier before Bethesda got their hands on them. Fallout's still goofy, just used to be slightly goofier. Bethesda has done a lot of good for the Fallout franchise, like turning it into a first-person RPG versus... I'm not a big fan of RTS games, which is kind of what... I guess it's kind of an RTS game. I don't know what you'd call the original Fallout 1 and 2. I have them. I own them. They're on my Steam account. Don't enjoy them. I've tried so hard, but keep in mind, I also didn't like New Vegas. I know some of you are going to be appalled by that sentence as well. But Outer Worlds made it, that one deserves to be at number 6 for me, and you might ask yourself why, because I gave it some pretty good praise there. I ran into a glitch to where I can't finish the game. Yeah, it literally freezes the whole game every time I try to enter a room. And I've tried all of the fixes, like I literally have gone through forums trying to figure it out, dumping my companions and all that stuff and trying to solo. The bad boss was what I was told to go do. Didn't work. None of it works. I can't finish Outer Worlds. Thank you. I'm so happy that you made a game I enjoyed and loved, but I will never get to play the ending, and I refuse to go watch the ending because it's bullshit that I can't finish it. Fix your game. Put out a patch. Make it so I can finish my playthrough. Next up, at number 5, and yeah, I did this out of irony, Gears of War 5, or Gears 5, I guess is what they call it now. They dropped the of war, it's just Gears. But they did a lot of really cool changes. You're riding around on the skiff, it's kind of open world, you kind of are doing these missions all across the little areas, and it's fantastically well done. My only reason to why it wasn't further up on this list was when it launched. Oh my god, there were so many issues with online multiplayer. They still might be there. That whole first month was so rough, and I'm good at Gears. Like, if you go look at my scores right now, like, if you look at how good I am at Gears, even on Gears 5, in the original Gears, for a long time, I was in the top 1,000 on Xbox 360. Like, into when the Xbox One came out, I was still in the top 1,000. But now, I would have to, sometimes it wouldn't connect at all. Sometimes it would take 15, 20 minutes to connect to a single match. That's not something you should have to worry about when playing an online game. And it's weird because these are the same issues that the Master Chief Collection had. Very similar issues. But then when you go over to like games like Halo 5, no problem. Works perfectly fine. Online worked flawlessly day of release. So Microsoft's known for their online competitive online competitive first-party games, exclusive games. That is what they do. They butchered that. The online to Gears was so broken at launch, obviously, I just went on a tangent about it. That should tell you how broken at launch it was. At number 4, I got Metro Exodus. This game was perfect to me. I have no complaints about Metro Exodus. It did an awesome job continuing the story to Metro 2033 and Last Light. I absolutely love those franchises. They are a Russian-based novel that they're based off of, where you exist in this Russian metro system after a nuclear war is broken out, and there's these kind of dark beings that exist. Yeah, I know that sounds really weird, especially for someone who doesn't like horror games. This walks a very fine line with horror and action. I don't do horror well. It's not that I get scared. I panic fire a lot. Not out of fear, just because I kind of just... I can't explain it. Like, ask anyone who's played Siege with me and accidentally been team killed. It happens. I don't know what to tell you. Sometimes I get spooked. This game does that a lot to me, and then stuff collects on your gas mask, and you constantly gotta wipe it off. But the story's so good that I like to play it, and I'm probably gonna play through this again because I want to get the good ending, because I didn't want to go get a teddy bear on my first playthrough, and I didn't think it would affect anything, and it did. It affected a lot. So, you should play Metro if you haven't. You can always pick up the Redux, which is 2033, the first one, and Last Light, the second one. They're almost always on sale and relatively cheap, and they still look gorgeous to this day because they ran beautifully on PC. Those games were made for PC. So the Xbox One and the PS4 versions are probably running on PC ports, would be my guess. Next up, yeah, we're about to get into a whole Nintendo series here, so buckle up, buckaroos. Number 3, Pokemon Sword and Shield. That's right, Pokemon made it into the top 3. I really liked Sword and Shield. I thought it was fantastic. I think they did a very good job. The only thing I didn't really enjoy about it was the Dynamaxing. I thought Dynamaxing was a little weird. I actually preferred Mega Evolutions over Dynamaxing. However, the way they did the story and the way that the gyms operate in this one, I actually thought was very creative and unique, and it caught my interest. However, the way they did it in Sun and Moon, for those of you who have been here on the channel for a long time, I hated Sun and Moon. Hated them. The only complaint outside of that I would have is I would have liked a bigger dex. I can deal with not all of the original Pokemon being in there, but I would have liked to have seen a few more make it in. There's just some Pokemon that I feel that are missing that really shouldn't have been missing for the series, especially in the competitive aspect of it. Like, I'm a big fan of Alakazam. That is one of my favorite Pokemon. There is not an Abra to be found in this game. You cannot get an Alakazam. Had you ever wished to have one, you're shit out of luck in Pokemon Sword and Shield. But great game still nonetheless. It did force me to use other Pokemon, and I've built a pretty solid competitive team. So if I were to probably sign on and play everyone, I would probably do pretty well. At least I think I would. I've done Pokemon tournaments before, back when I was a kid and nerdier. I'm more nerdy now than I was when I was a kid. Number 2, Luigi's Mansion 3. Obviously, I know a lot of you are probably shocked this isn't my number 1 at this point, too. I love Luigi's Mansion. It's easily one of my favorite franchises that Nintendo has ever accidentally made. 'Cause they launched the GameCube on this game, and they blamed a lot of the GameCube's bad sales on Luigi's Mansion. That was kind of a thing that they tried to say. No Mario game at release, that's part of the reason why it didn't sell. Bullshit. Luigi's Mansion is a better franchise than Mario. No offense, Mario. I still love the Mario games. But Luigi's Mansion is very unique. You're running around as the other brother, the one who's a little more easily spooked and not as much of a fan favorite, with a vacuum cleaner on your back busting ghosts. That's what you're doing. It's like Ghostbusters, but with a vacuum. There's other things you can do with a vacuum too, and they're single player as well. Alright kids, next up at number 1, the unexpected Fire Emblem Three Houses. Yeah, so I didn't pick this up at launch. I literally picked it up. I know. I'm a little shocked too myself. Fire Emblem Three Houses was an amazing game. I absolutely loved it. There's nothing I could say more beautifully about it. Good and bad are very blurred lines and perspective based, and stuff can change, and you might assume one thing and completely think something else by the end of it if you're more open-minded to what's going on. It's a very well done game. I'm not a big JRPG fan. All of a sudden this year I played a bunch of JRPGs. Weird how that works, right? But yeah, that's my game list. Those are the top 10s for me. I would strongly suggest you play Fire Emblem, by the way, if you haven't. Story's incredible. Like, incredible. And there's multiple different ways that can play out. So your story might not be as good as mine, might not be as good as yours, but there's a bunch of different ways that can play out for you. Now, I would like to hear from you. What was your favorite games of the year? You can let me know down below. You can do it as a list of 10 if you would like to, or you could just tell me what your favorite game was. Obviously, I did a vote, but I'm sure there's plenty of you that are like, man, Nick didn't include a lot of the stuff I liked in this voting system here, and that's not my fault. I'm limited to 4. So 4 per category was what you got. 4? It was 4 or 6. I don't remember. But YouTube only gives me a certain amount I can put in. So if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to drop a thumbs up. Also, if you're new to the channel, you can click that subscribe button, ding that bell. And if you want to follow me anywhere else, Patreon, Xbox, PlayStation, any of those things, the links are as always in the description box down below. Guys, I'll have plenty more content coming for you, and stick around.